Welcome to the Force Aways. My name is David Zamet, aka Diz, or the other way around, whatever you like. This is a review for episode 5 of The Acolyte, which is on Disney Plus. It's a live action series for Star Wars. Straight off the bat, this particular episode is a 9 out of 10. Why? 9 out of 10. Let me tell you, even though this particular episode was a real fan service in lightsabers galore, and I should say there is some spoilers here. Please understand there's some spoilers. Lightsabers galore. You know, feeding the souls of us Star Wars fans with the action, with the darkness and the lightsabers and all of it meshed up in one. It actually, to me, had the right setting, the right type of dialogue, the right type of lead up, that lead up in the sections of the story in this particular episode, because it does stop and start a little here and there, whatever. And it left us with a bit of mystery, and it left us with, you know, sort of particular, typical sort of things, not particular, typical sort of things. But I thoroughly enjoyed this particular episode, not because it was that sort of action, but it did. This whole episode is what the feel of what we thought the Acolyte, when I say we, I should say I, was expecting it to be. I thought the reveal of this guy actually was done pretty well in its, you know, theatrical sort of look. And I thought he is good. I thought the actual character was good. The dialogue, even though it was good, it was still trying really hard to capture, in my mind, the level of psychological dialogue in The Return of the Jedi, the lightsaber duel at the end with Luke, the Emperor, and Darth Vader. That to me is the real top of the dialogue in its psychological sort of thing. Here it was pushing hard and it was getting there. I thought the whole episode was great. 9 out of 10 to me. And this was the episode that I think it's Leslie Headland, I keep getting this wrong, who's the producer, the creator of this particular series, did say episode 5 is the one, and I do believe she was right. It is the one. The only thing with this particular episode, this should have been the feel of episode 1 of The Acolyte, but it obviously needs a bit of a lead up in understanding why, when, how, you know, all these characters, but it is a bit late in the series. I've not seen anyone's review on this particular episode. I'm doing this straight from my reaction. I thought the reveal of him being a Sith, now the big question is going to be, because in the last week, the amount of uproar with episode 4, let alone episode 3, was massive, especially with this thing called canon, Star Wars canon. It was just intense, with the people really inundating this particular series with, you know, incorrect canon. But now that it's this person here, he's revealed himself to be a Sith, or of Sith origin. And even though technically, as it was said in The Phantom Menace, that the Sith have been extinct for a millennium, at the moment, if you look how the episode plays out towards the end, no one really has that information as yet, besides the Jedi soul. which I think still is a standout of this particular series. The actor and the portrayal of that Jedi soul is just, 100% on the money. So at the moment, the information is really with him and one of the sisters. So of the sisters with Osha and May. I can't remember which one, but it was one of them. Because they're twins, it's hard to see. Anyway, so this here can be still a part of the whole canon understanding, but unfortunately, people will have to die, which is going to be predicted, I think, especially with this intrigue of what Jedi Soul has done. He's holding back a secret from Osha and even May, that he's done something. There was something that was happened that we'll probably get to know in the next episode, or maybe the final episode, of what he's actually done. And I think he may pass away. Anyway, die, whatever you want to say. So I look, 9 out of 10. If you want an action-packed Star Wars with lightsabers, this is it. Stuff with, good, very good dialogue, but, not supreme 100%, but still very good. This is it. So this is, this is really the sell episode to a lot of people who are, I'd say, non-Star Wars fans and even Star Wars fans. I personally will stand alone, no doubt, thinking this episode is this great. There will probably no doubt others out there, but I'm just, it's the actual setting, it's the atmosphere, that sort of foggy, sort of cold look or whatever it is with the lightsabers. It's great. The only thing I thought was, a bit of evil on my behalf here, but the only person I thought was great to see die, because I just thought his character was just too clean cut, was that the guy with the funky hairdo, the Jedi with the yellow lightsaber, that's using his lightsaber mainly for a torch in lots of parts of this particular series. I was just happy with that. I think it's a bit cringeworthy that Jedi were like police officers, but that is a part of the story, and I accept that, I understand. I just think it's a little bit, you're under arrest. It's a bit cringeworthy, in my opinion. I do think, I don't know what life is of this particular series is going to happen. Life in meaning the energy, or if the story is going to have more intrigue, or if it's going to have more reveals, or whatever it is. If there's going to be a reveal that's massive, I think it's going to be in episode 8, because it's an 8-episode series. And I think this is what's going to take us into the second series, if it gets greenlit, because the amount of uproar, I don't know. And I think the reveal of what I would love to see as a reveal is the, Darth Plagueis. His story is just a real interesting lead-up story to what we know as Emperor Palpatine. He was the apprentice from Plagueis. I would love to see that evolve somehow, but anyway, that's for another time. I think... but I've got to say, I've got to pause for a moment. I've actually watched a fair bit of things online about episode 3, and especially episode 4. The upheaval, look, as a Star Wars fan, I'm a Star Wars fan, but the amount of toxic, like the inundating of negativity with Star Wars is huge, and it's out of control. It's now a part of the DNA in Star Wars, especially the hardcore Star Wars fans. I just think accepting the story for what it is in that moment in time, whatever it is in the timeline of Star Wars, or whenever we get it in actual time, which is real life, not 2024 at the moment, it's accept to accept the story where it's going is just where it goes. That's, whether I think something's cringeworthy or somebody else thinks it's cringeworthy or something is incorrect or whatever, that's another thing. I do think this whole canon thing, in my personal opinion, was a partial mistake from the original creator. I love George Lucas, but this canon thing has really been out of hand since when it was announced episode 1, 2, and 3 was going to be created. And from then on, after that, personally, the story should have just kept moving forward. That's from episode 7 onwards. We now have episode 7, 8, and 9, but that's where the story lies for interesting, original, and fun new adventures. Going back in between, it's great to see, but it's just excruciating. Again, when they were announced, episode 1, 2, and 3, on the internet, there was a slot for 7, 8, 9. George Lucas had put 7, 8, 9 as a slot, like 1, 2, and 3, which was not written in 1997. And I thought, well, if we're going to go backwards, we're going to go forwards. It's great. But then it was cut off after he sort of finished after 3. He didn't want to keep going. He sold it to Disney. Fantastic. 7, 8, 9 was created. Whether you love it or hate it, it was created. But we just need to keep pushing the story forward, not in between, not backwards. That's to me, it's a sacrifice for us fans. But what that does for the corporations is familiarities, so people are recognized. It's a Star Wars thing, or characters, or storylines. It sort of gets people involved. And wait a minute, this is the Yoda story. Let's check out the Yoda story. Look, keep pushing forward. That's what I suggest. That's my opinion. Love it or hate it, whatever. Us Star Wars fans have our own particular ways in how we want the story to be. In fact, the birth of this actually happened back in 1977. I can remember in my, on a pad and pen, not iPad, a pad and pen, just doing Star Wars battles, outlining Star Wars battles, the creation of my version of a Star Wars. So the creation of Star Wars stories has actually, or like fan films within yourself, or with you put on the internet, or you create as a movie, an actual movie, is great. But that's where it actually all began and really manifested. Everyone having their own idea, and if their idea did not fruition, then it caused a bit of a jolt within them personally. That's what I think has happened. It's great that Star Wars has, inspired us to create stories, but I think really it is up to the Star Wars timeline, the official Star Wars timeline, to be just, embraced or not embraced by the particular individual. I embrace for what it is. I think there's a lot of things in every single Star Wars that are great, and every single Star Wars that is bad. There's parts to every one of them. But anyway, that's my opinion. I wish that we can just unite once again, like that amazing energy. As I've said in the previous last couple of episodes, the amazing energy of what Star Wars was, and in the last Jedi Star Wars celebration, which was in Orlando, the energy, the love, it was just amazing. There was nothing at that point that people were in doubt of. Like, people just the only probably issue with then was The Force Awakens was a little bit similar to the original Star Wars. That was probably the only thing that people were going on about then. And it's just exploded ever since. Not completely, but it just keeps exploding. And anyway, so that's my little rant. But my opinion, and it's up to you how you decide, in what you like or don't like. But anyway, this particular episode, episode 5, 3 more to go, 6, 7, and 8. See how they go. This was a 9 out of 10. And until next time, my friends, keep rocking.